Yo, what's going on, y'all? It's your boy SoSo, in case you ain't know so, and welcome back to another dope episode of Sports with SoSo. Coming to you live, y'all. This week, football is officially back as the Dolphins get ready for preseason game number 1. The Marlins are continuing to struggle, which makes me wonder if their season is over. And Messi keeps Inter Miami alive yet again. It's time to take a ride, y'all. Let's go. What it do? Man, before we even start the show, right now we need everybody to head on over to our YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, click the notifications, because we got a fire 365 flag football video that is just waiting for you guys to reach 300 subs. So
for the record, it's not on the editor this time. The video is ready.
It's ready.
We are ready to go. I have done my part, everything I can. Now it is on you, the listener, the viewer, to just go tell a friend and subscribe.
That's
just
all you have to do.
Get us to 300 subs.
Get your phone. Make sure you guys are subscribed. Get your girl's phone. Subscribe on her phone. Get your aunt's phone. When she's out the house, just like cooking some rice and beans, and like Kina, put her onto the Sports with SoSo YouTube channel.
Here's an example of how the conversation can go. Ready? Ring, ring.
Hola, abuelita.
Hola, abuelita. ¿Cómo anda? Mijo. ¿Por qué tú me estás llamando? Tú nunca me llamas. Abuela, por favor, YouTube.
Te voy a mandar un link.
¿Qué coño es eso? Click. That's the call, guys.
That's it. That's all you have to do, man. That's all you have to do. Especially as we get closer and closer to football season.
Oh, my God. How many days? Do you know off the top of your head? How many days?
Dude, it's like less than 30 days.
Yeah, something
It's
like that.
less than 30 days from today, the day that we're recording.
Well, we had officially the first game of the NFL season.
Correct. Last
Technically,
Thursday.
with the Hall of Fame game.
Yes, and I'm glad you brought up the Hall of Fame, because we have to talk about the legend, number 54, Zachary Thomas. Finally, officially a Hall of Famer,
Member of the Gold Jacket Society.
And honestly, dog, I feel like Zach's going to be in all-time contention for top 10 disrespect when it came to when he got his Hall of Fame call. You know what I mean? Because Zach Thomas was one of those dudes, dog, who you relied on every fucking game, every Sunday, playoffs, didn't matter, big game, first game, last game, didn't matter. 54 was there, leading the team in tackles, making big plays, getting interceptions, running them back for touchdowns, like getting sacked. This dude was arguably the best linebacker the Dolphins have ever had, ever. And there's a lot of big names, Bonacani, like there's a lot of names when you go back into the 70s and 80s for the guys who played for this franchise, but none of them had that impact, not only on the field, but off the field as far as with the fans, like Zach Thomas, dog. Like I never heard anybody say, damn, Zach Thomas, dog, should have got. Never. It was just like, all right, he tried his best.
Yeah, because
if he didn't make the play.
If you're of the new generation, a guy like Zach Thomas isn't a guy that like, you probably know in your social zeitgeist, right? It's probably like,
for sure.
If you're not a Dolphins fan, you're probably not like too keen on who Zach Thomas is. But for us that grew up on 90s football, I mean, he was the epitome of like that,
that defense,
that tough, tough, gritty, in your face defense. And Zach was the guy that put his body on the line every single play, every single game. And had a hell of a career.
Amazing career.
I think he still leads the Dolphins in tackles. I think he still leads them in concussions. Zach literally put it all out there, man. Mr. No Neck himself.
With the fucking neck brace.
With the cowboy collar, man. I mean, the OG middle linebacker, man. The Mike linebacker, man, that doesn't exist anymore because now there's too many schemes with, the edge rushers and all that and changing it up. And you're more critical if you can be a pass rusher versus covering the middle of the field, which is what Zach was. He's kind of one of the last ones, the Ray Lewis's, right?
Yeah.
The Zach Thomas is like, he's in that class.
Absolutely. You got to put him in that Ray Lewis category.
Yeah. Brian Urlacher,
all of those dudes.
That same realm.
All of those dudes, because not only did he do it for 12 seasons in the NFL, his first 11 seasons, he racked up 100 tackles every year, dog, regardless. You know what I mean? This is a dude who has the Dolphins' career record for interceptions, returns for touchdowns. and he has 4 of them bad boys. And he's a linebacker.
And he's a linebacker, middle linebacker.
You know what I mean? So, like, it just shows you how you talk about impactful players. That was him.
Yeah.
You know, and like I said he, in the beginning, very, very reliable. Week in, week out, bad game, hurt, didn't matter. Zach Thomas was going to make plays, and he was going to be the best player on our defense.
Yep.
And I'm really happy that he finally got his bust.
Same.
And,
Same.
Canton, man.
Same, man.
He deserved
well deserved. Very well deserved. One more time for the
Let's
home
go,
man.
man.
And I'm glad we were able to give him his flowers on this show.
Absolutely,
so
bro. Absolutely.
we don't have to go another year without, with
Wondering,
holding our hanging our head because Zach Thomas didn't get in. Finally,
real,
he's
bro.
in there. So
For real. And again, he said it himself. Like some of the linebackers, like he looked up to a dude who he played with in junior Seau, and these guys got to play together. It just shows you how much respect, Zach had for that position and how he carried himself on the field, man. Just a warrior, a complete warrior, man. Shout out to him.
Yeah, let's keep the Dolphins going. Let's keep it going.
Man,
I like
we got Dolphins football this Friday.
Ooh, that's quick. That's soon, bro.
It's needed. It's
Preseason.
needed because I don't know about you, but I got a fucking Jones for some real football. You know?
I feel like Tyrone Biggums over here. I need some of that football, baby.
Absolutely, and especially with like how the Dolphins ended last year, right? We made the playoffs. We were 9-8, kind of stumbled towards the end of the season, right? With Tua being hurt.
Yep.
Us trying to figure
Streaks,
out.
season of streaks.
Yeah, but ultimately what we saw from the team is like a really good defensive base, obvious talents on offense. How can we put all this together? And I think that this is the year that we kind of see whether it works or it doesn't work, right? And obviously a lot of that relies on the health of Tua. But for me, like, looking at the schedule, looking at our opponents, looking at the team, is it going to be realistic that the Dolphins can make 10 wins this season and get themselves into a drivable seat, right? Not a passenger seat to the playoffs, a driver's seat into the playoffs by controlling your destiny.
Yeah. Last year that was obviously a topic of debate was, the over-under, I think in Vegas was 10 wins or 10.5.
Yeah.
Maybe 9.5 last year for the Dolphins. And it's pretty much right around there, because of the streakiness nature of our season last year. But with a healthy Tua, you did point out to that our season is very much dependent on Tua and his health. And barring any injury that takes him out for multiple games like last year, I really do think that we can smash that. I think we can win 12 games this year, even with the schedule that's ahead of us, and it's a very tough schedule compared to 2022.
For sure. And my concern isn't so much the schedule as it is the division. You know what I mean? Because now these division games are going to be that much harder. Patriots, that much harder. Jets, that much harder. Buffalo, we already know what they are, right? So, like, those 6 games that we have with those 3 teams are going to be, bro, obviously it's cliche to say this, but it's going to be the most vital parts of the season, right? Because you can go out there and lose to an NFC East opponent, an AFC West opponent and shit. That's all fine and dandy here and there because those losses don't necessarily kill you. But if you're talking about a race for the playoffs, right? We saw that race where the Patriots were kind of in that race last year with us. We saw that the Jets had a chance, you know what I mean? To had things gone better for them and have less injuries, they would have been right in the thick of that race as well. So that's where my mind goes, right? Like, how are we going to be able to battle with the rest of these AFC East teams to get that record to 10 wins? Because the schedule is tough.
All right,
yeah, it's tough.
Let's go through the schedule real quick. First game of the season, official game, September 10th, on the road against
the Chargers,
the Los Angeles Chargers.
Formidable
team, you know what I mean? Great offensive units, just
50-50.
like us. It's kind of like us. We're on the road. It's their home opener. Who knows what can happen there. I'm still going to ride with the Dolphins all day, every day.
We're going to put them at 50-50.
But
that game.
I'm going to say 51-49. Next game, we're still on the road, but this time we're in Foxborough.
Right.
So
which is good because I'd rather go up there early than go up there in the winter.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So we're playing up there early on September 17th. And then the following week, we're playing at home opener against the Denver Broncos, who are coming off a struggling 2022 season.
But just got a new head coach in Sean Payton, a guy who's won the Super Bowl, knows what to do with quarterbacks like Russell Wilson.
I think that our defense that we have under Vic Fangio this year and a second year Mike McDaniels is going to supersede that. Sorry, Champagne. I know you're a great head coach, but I really think the momentum's on our side, especially hypothetically speaking, if we go 0-2 to start the season. There's no way we're losing that game at home. There's no shot.
No.
Also, no shot of us starting the season 0-2. I'm going to go out there and say that right now.
At least 1-1.
We got to go. We got to win one of those. But then here's the tricky part of the schedule. We start getting into, we got the Bills on the road.
Right.
So again, early on in the season, we're playing up in Buffalo, not later on, but our fourth game of the season is against the division, champion.
For the past, 5 years running?
What do you see for those 4 games? You said 1-1 for that. You see the Broncos win. We're winning that game at home.
Yeah, for sure. But we got to walk away from those first 4 games 500.
2-2?
At least. Because we don't know, like that first game of the season is always a toss-up, right? Like who's better disciplined? That's what that game is going to come down to.
You can see it going Charger, home, maybe possibly a loss on the road, first game
Bounce
of the season.
back, get a win at New England.
2 back-to-back wins, and then maybe a stumble loss, close loss to the Bills.
And then you get into that division, that out-of-division play, which is what I was explaining.
The NFC
you get the Giants, you get the Panthers, you get Philadelphia. Those 3 straight games.
Before you just skid past those, so New York, the Giants were in the playoffs this past year, beat the Cowboys, and they went to the second round, and then the Eagles were in the Super Bowl.
And they didn't. Neither one of those teams took a step back this year.
So the cupcake team there is the Panthers. That's a must-win situation right there.
But even still, they're starting Bryce Young, so we don't know what to expect from that team.
I'm not worried.
I feel you, but But this is what bothers me about the strength of schedule shit, right? Like we're looking at it and we're like, this team was whack last year. This team was good last year. This team was whack. This is a brand new year, right? So even for the Dolphins, we got brand new pieces. We have brand new pieces in the O-line, brand new pieces in the cornerback position. Are we going to be able to turn that into 10 wins? Because I feel like that's the magic number for you to get into the playoffs, right? Like 9 was way too close for comfort last year, right? So, in my opinion, you got to win 10 games to compete for the playoffs, especially if you want to compete for the division title. You got to at least win 10 games, right? And then on top of that, now you got to go battle against the AFC East, the AFC West, who has 2 teams who can possibly make playoffs in the wild card. Then the AFC North with Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Like, there's another 2 teams or 3 teams that can come out of there, including Cleveland, right? Like, the race for those wild card spots or every other playoff spot that's not the division winner is going to be tight. And it's going to be the team who can rack up the most wins. That's why I say I think the Dolphins really need to get to 10 wins in order to guarantee themselves that playoff position, in my opinion.
No, you're not saying anything that's unrealistic. I mean, those are all facts in the NFL. You know, in order to make it to the playoffs, you have to win probably double-digit games, and then even then, because of our division, we gotta go further than that. So, I mean, we went through 7 opponents the first 7 weeks of the year.
Yeah,
you know, where do you have us at? We got at Chargers, at Patriots, home to the Broncos, home to the Bills, or no, at Bills, right. Home to the Giants, home to the Panthers, and on the road in Philly. What do you think through 7 games we do there?
I think we can be 4-3 on the worst end. On the worst end. If we're looking to hit our goals for this year, we need to be 5-2.
I agree. I think we need to be 5-2, and the reason is the next few games. So we just went through 7. Look at the next 7 games that we have here. Right,
New England, Kansas City,
we're at home,
Las Vegas.
You just skated over that. At home against New England, on the road against the defending Super Bowl champion Chiefs. And then the Raiders, they're struggling. That could be a game that
we don't know, doggy.
I mean, dog, they don't got a quarterback. They don't got a team. They don't got a running back. They don't got nothing. Like as of right now, that's a dub in my book. But then we got to go the following week to play the Jets on the road and then the Washington Commanders, who last year started to figure things out. They got a pretty sneaky good young defense. They got some pieces on offense. So, you know, it gets tough there because we go Jets, Commanders, then back home to face the Titans, who are like a thorn in our side always.
But Joel, let's just regardless of whether we're home or away, just look at the teams. It's Kansas City, it's Las Vegas, it's the Jets, it's the Commanders, Titans, Jets again, Cowboys, a great team. Baltimore are gonna be a fucking tough team,
and then the Bills,
at home, right after New Year's.
That's a tough second half of the season, man.
You feel me? So that's why I think back to that 10 winning, like that 10 win statement, like we need to get to 10 wins. And we can't look at the schedule to say this is a win, this is a loss, this is a win, this is a loss. Now, we're going to have to be as competitive as we can.
No, I mean, the Dolphins are going to do that. I'm going to tell you right now that definitely is a win against the Raiders, and that's definitely a lock against the Broncos. So we got two. What are our other 8 wins? We're going to split. Let's say we split with the division. That's 3. That's 5 wins. Where do we get the other 5?
You got to beat at least 3 of these.
Panthers?
You got to beat at least 3 of those teams. You got to beat the Giants, you got to beat the Panthers, and you got to beat Washington.
I think you got to beat the Cowboys and the Titans.
Maybe, but that's a team that could potentially, at that point, not only be fighting for the division, fighting for home field advantage in the NFC, because it's not like the Cowboys are taking a major step back. Yeah, they don't have Zeke right now, but Tony Pollard...
He didn't do anything last year for them anyway.
Right, and Tony Pollard did do something for them. So, you know what I mean? So that's why I'm like, we got to look at the schedule and be like, all right, we got to put on our fucking, steel-toe boots, put on our hard hats, and get to work, because this season is not going to be easy. And, which leads me to one of my bigger points for this Dolphins topic. I keep hearing a lot of Christian Wilkins' names being thrown around, his contract. I'm thinking that they got to try to get his shit done before the season starts. They got to try to get his extension done, his new deal on the books, because you don't want this guy to go into the last year of his contract, right? With that just hanging. Yeah, this is his last year on the rookie contract. So next year we can franchise tag him, and the year after that we can franchise tag him too, which will be kind of like close to the $21 million that he's looking to have, right? But in my opinion, you want to show these guys that are important key players, right? Whether it's on offense or defense, you want to give these guys their money. You want to give them that sign of respect and say, hey, we want you here, and you're a big part here. And I feel like we've done that for other positions. We need to do that for Chris Wilkins. Because Chris Wilkins has been it and everything for this defense. Yeah, there's other names, there's other guys who have gotten the glory and make big plays and all shit, but none of it is possible without the work that man puts in. You know what I mean? And it goes unseen a lot of times because he's getting doubled and triple teamed. So you look at him and you're like, bro, this guy doesn't even have 12 digits, like double-digit sacks or something. Like, yeah, but he's also has the most tackles that a defensive tackle has had in the last 2 years. By himself, pretty much, as a defensive tackle. So
I love Wilkins. I definitely think he deserves his money, especially for everything he's done for us already to this point. Both on and off the field. He's been a big part of this organization and of South Florida. You see him at Panthers games, you see him at Heat games. Like, he's all in on South Florida, Miami. The culture. So for those reasons, I definitely want him to get his money. But if I'm a GM and, I don't know, I hope they are. I hope they're already working things out, and that's a priority for them. But I can't, it wouldn't be too far-fetched for me to hear that it's not a priority for the front office right now, that just Wilkins is, we're going to take care of you. We want to take care of you, but right now the priority is a Super Bowl. And we know that that's what you want, and let's not, muddy the waters. I could definitely see that happening where they just kind of hold it off, and it's like, well, it is his contract year. Ball out. Yeah. Have your best year that you've had, so that there's no ifs, ands, or buts, about getting your money at the end of it.
If that's the road that we take, that's fine with me personally. I don't know if it'll be okay with him, if he'll have some type of, memory and be like, oh, remember when these guys did this? But I will tell you this, it might just motivate him to do the best that he can. And another X factor is, you mentioned earlier, Vic Fangio now is going to be running his defense. What type of effect does that have on Wilkins' numbers, right? Like, is he going to have more opportunity to get sacks? Is he going to be able to, go around and not necessarily have to be the bull rush type guy and just allow him, to be in multiple places at once? I don't know. But I think that we can expect big things from Wilkins this year. And hopefully it turns into a lot of dollar signs for him, because I don't want to see that shit where it gets muddy, where we're franchise tagging him and then we're doing it again and then we're doing, because that can be irritable to the player,
of course.
Right?
Yeah, they want long-term stability, and I think Wilkins, is in good enough standing with the front office where
he can relate some of that.
I think that he's an important part. You know what I mean? Like, they want to keep a guy like that happy, to keep the locker room happy, and like, you know what I mean? But I just don't know the financials, so I wouldn't be able to speak to any of that stuff. I know we gave Chubb a lot of money last year. I know Tyreek took some money, on the salary cap. Like, I know there's
X got
other
paid
people on the payroll. We just brought in Jalen Ramsey in.
Who's getting paid.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, we've made some moves already. It's like, hey, man, right now we won't be able to, maybe next year. And it's like, dog, if you're going to get franchise tagged, I mean, it's not long term, but you're going to get paid. What's the highest paid defensive tackle right now? Is it Aaron Donald, like at 30 mil or something like that?
Yeah, so the average is like 22, 23 for the top 10
So
positions.
you're going to make in one season what some lifetime defensive linemen have never made,
Facts.
So that's still good money, but yeah, go get your money, homie.
Go get it. Go get it. And I hope the Dolphins do the right thing by him too, right?
Same.
Like, and just get it out the way. Let's not play with that shit and not even have that in the back of our minds.
Yeah.
Let's bring it up to the current status of this football team right now. We got the practice with Atlanta Tuesday and Wednesday, and then the game, preseason game number 1 is on Friday at 8 o'clock, 7 p.m. Excuse me, in the 305.
At Traz Powell.
It's not at Traz Powell, dog.
I'm kidding. It's at Mylander.
The one thing that all Dolphins fans should be paying attention to in this game, because I doubt Tua even plays, but it's the cornerback position.
Yes.
Right? That's the battle. Is it Cater? Is it Noah? Is it Cam? Is it Eli? Are we going to
see a guy like Eli Apple in a preseason game?
Absolutely. He's playing for a job. So is Noah Igbonawi. So is fucking Cater Kohu. Like, the only one who's not playing for his job right now is Cam Smith, because he knows he's going to be here no matter what after this season.
The rookie.
Right.
Who was also my favorite one out of those guys.
And he's also the one who's been getting one-on-one coaching from Jalen Ramsey himself on the sidelines while Jalen Ramsey recovers from his surgery. This dude, Cam Smith, man, from everything that I'm hearing in camp is that he is the real deal. Obviously, he still needs experience and he still needs that time. But he is one of those guys that you look at him and you're like, that's a football player for sure, right? And he looks like one of those guys that can excel and be athletic in that position. So I'm excited about his possibility. And crazy for me is the reports coming out of camp is that Noah Igbonawi has been the second best cornerback, which is crazy. Fourth year here as a Dolphin, right? A very up and down career here as a Dolphin. Got benched, got put onto the third squad, like, a lot has happened for this dude. He took it all in stride, and now he seems to have used that for motivation to say, nah, I am an NFL-worthy starting cornerback. Let me go lock this job down while Jalen Ramsey is out. And for me, I couldn't be more excited about what the possibilities can be for this defensive back position. Because you talk about Howard, great at making plays. Ramsey, great at making plays. Kohu had great ball awareness last year. Noah, if he can turn up his ball awareness. Cam Smith is a guy who's always been a ball hawk. Eli Apple can make some plays. These are guys that go after the ball. They're not necessarily tackling big corners. These are guys who can go out there and intercept the ball, turn the ball over. And that's something that we needed a lot of last year, dog. We didn't get that many turnovers. We got a couple of fumbles here and there, but not enough as a team.
And that was coming off of a season where Xavier Howard alone had double-digit interceptions.
And that was it. Without him, the next closest guy had like 2. You know what I mean? So now we got a squad of cornerbacks that can each put up at least 4 or 5 interceptions. And and those are the weapons you're going to need facing all these quarterbacks, the Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons, the Dak Prescotts, you know what I mean? Like all these teams that we're going to be facing, you got to be able to turn the ball over because those guys are human. They're going to make mistakes. But when they make those mistakes, we need to capitalize on them and take that shit and run with it. And I think that these guys are the group that can do that.
That was always a big point of contention during OnlyFans last year.
Yeah.
Don't forget, coming up soon. You win the turnover battle, you're more than likely going to win the game. And when we weren't generating, you were a big proponent of that. When we weren't generating turnovers, we weren't winning games.
We looked standard, like a standard defense, and to your credit, we talked a lot about that on OnlyFans, but it was only because of how glaring that turnover was. We couldn't get fumbles, so it was like, all right, we don't have a reliable source of fumbles, and if X doesn't get the pick, nobody else is getting it. And you know what? You think about Xavier Howard and saying, well, he should be getting double-digit picks every year. That shit is hard when you're the number one DB and you're not getting thrown, at more than 10 times a game. How are you going to come? You've probably seen the ball 4 times, 6 times in a game, right? Where you're going up against a wide receiver one-on-one. So we can't expect Xavier Howard to have that level of production again. It needs to be kind of like production by committee, where everybody throws in
team effort.
Right, there are 2, 3, 4, 5 picks, and when you're on the field, you make the play. If not, just make the tackle.
I'll tell you this much: I do expect a level of being better from Xavier Howard this year. I felt like there was a little bit of regression last year. I felt like the mainstay of our defense last year was Javon Holland.
Yeah, for sure it was. For sure it was when it comes in the secondary. But I think that's because we were asking Xavier to do a lot, right? With the depleted team, like core that we had in that defensive back position. And also he had to be the guy to make the plays. So you have no chance to rest. You got to go up against the best and you got to make all the plays, big dog. Yeah. Yeah, we asked a lot of him, but he came through more often than not.
He did.
And even this year, it wouldn't surprise me to see the interceptions numbers for him take a step back, right? Why? Because at some point, Ramsey's going to be here, and they're going to go away from Howard to throw to Ramsey, and then eventually Ramsey's going to be playing so good that they go away from Ramsey to throw to Howard. So I can see those numbers taking a little bit of a step back, but it only means something to me if everybody else is contributing. So that's something to look out for you guys listening. When you're watching this game on Friday, make sure to pay attention to that cornerback position, man. That's going to be a battle.
Yes or no, a fight breaks out between the two teams during joint practice?
Abso-fucking-lutely, yes.
Why is that always the case?
Because, bro, these guys have too much testosterone in their body. They're tired of hitting their teammates and kind of like taking it easy on him. They're dying to hit somebody else and be like, I don't owe this guy shit. I'm going to go hard at this guy and earn my job.
Which should make Friday's game a little bit more interesting.
Oh, yeah. You know what I mean? It gets a little bit chippy on practice on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then boom, Friday comes and it turns up into a fucking mega brawl. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
That shit will be wild, though, right?
That would be wild.
That would be wild.
There's definitely going to be a fight, I would think.
Yeah, man. It always happens, dog. Somebody's going to grab somebody's face mask and they're going to do that tug of war. You know what I mean? A little tug of war shit is going to happen. But yeah, we got Dolphins football, man. It's
Friday,
back.
baby.
Friday, 7 p.m. Go ahead and watch it on your local channels. Yeah. And, man, head on over to the YouTube channel. Sports with SoSo. Hit the subscribe button. OnlyFans dropping soon. We got so much fire content coming for you guys. And even here on the podcast, man, I've been working on getting a couple of guests here and there for the season to get some other teams' perspectives like we started to do last year. So it should be fun, man. Football is back, baby. I'm so excited, dog. We talked about football for over 20 minutes right now.
And it's not even football season.
It's not even football season, man.
Now we got to switch it up to a little sad note.
A little sad note. It depends on how you look at it, right? Like, are you wearing rose-colored glasses? Because if you are, then you're looking at this Marlins team and saying, it could be better, could be worse.
We talked about it last show, man. Because of the start of the season they had prior to the All-Star game,
right?
This has been so disappointing. This second half, it's a completely different, result. Like, yeah, it's sad, man. And I went to the most exciting game that we've had all season.
Facts,
in my opinion, last Wednesday.
Yeah,
against
12-inning game
against the Phillies.
Yeah, and
it went into extra innings. We were down early, 5-0. We came back. We had back-to-back home runs
in the ninth.
It was something crazy. And then they ended up going up. Then we tied it back up again. Took it to extra innings, and they go up, and we tie it, and we end up winning it in the end, man. And it was a super exciting game, but we've lost every single game since then.
It's been fucking terrible for the Marlins, which kind of, begs the question, is this the beginning of the end for the Marlins playoff run? Right? Because when you're looking at the Marlins and how bad they've been in the second half of the season, this is a team that's now 5-16 since the All-Star break, dog. 5-16. And we didn't see this team go through any type of lows like this in the first half. So it leads me to wonder, maybe this is the real Marlins team, and everything that we saw in the first half is an anomaly and just kind of was lightning in a bottle for those first 3-4 months of the season.
Or we're getting a really tough part of the year now. Now teams are ramping it up. That first half is a little more cupcake. We're coming off, we started off against the hottest team in baseball in the Orioles. Just, the series that I was talking about was against the Phillies, who are starting now to figure things out, have a high payroll. You know what I mean? Could it also be that contributing to this woe right now?
Yes and no, right? Yes, because the competition is obviously getting tighter, right? Like these teams that have much higher payrolls than the Marlins and have those expectations of being a playoff contending team, they're starting to ramp up, getting some guys back, putting some pieces together in the trades that they've made. But for the Marlins, it was never really an expectations, right? It was more like a goddamn. We got so surprised that the guys are in the first place for the wild card for such a long time, and well, maybe we can't expect them to make that run. I just think that what's hitting us is the reality of Marlins baseball, and it shows you that there isn't enough yet on this team to sustain that type of success over the entire season. Because if you think about it, you know, we talked about it a couple of times on the show, but Yuri Perez was the best thing going for the Marlins as far as pitching. Doesn't matter if it was AJ Puk, if it was Luzardo, Braxton. Didn't matter who you were talking about when it came to pitching. Yuri Perez was the one making the magic happen. And then he had those 2 losses in back-to-back starts, and then they decided to sit him in AAA for the arbitration ruling or whatever.
Yeah.
And it felt like ever since then, the Marlins kind of lost their mojo. And it's evident that the Marlins don't have enough of a calming presence, an energetic presence. I don't know if it's because Jazz is still out, but there's something missing as far as the core. It's not like, oh, shit, we're missing our star second baseman. We're missing our star right fielder. We're missing it seems like the energy is off now with the Marlins because I just don't feel like they have it in their minds that they can come back like they were doing earlier in the season when we saw them be the comeback Marlins.
I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to put on my optimistic glasses here.
Let's see them.
And I'm going to say that we're just in a slump.
We're just 5-16 slump.
We're just in a slump right now. Yeah, it's a bad slump. It's not great. You know, we're at 58 and 55.
Right.
3 games above 500 when we were 12, 13 games above 500.
Yep.
So we made some moves prior to the deadline, which was last week. We brought in a big hitter in Josh Bell.
Yep.
Who actually
Berger too.
And we also brought in Berger. But Bell actually had a home run in that game, the one that I went to against the Phillies.
A very important home run.
Immediately contributed, right away for what we wanted him to. So we got some new pieces. We let some guys go. We moved some things around. We've had the All-Star break. Teams are getting hot. We're facing hotter teams now. I think now that it's like we got to recalibrate. I think that's what's happening here, right? We're in the process right now of recalibrating. We were playing a certain game, right? And then all of a sudden now they just switched the game on us. And it's like, oh shit. And now we're scrambling.
Oh, these are rules.
We're scrambling now to figure out like, oh shit, all right, so you do this and you do that. And we're going to slowly turn it around. That's my hope. That's my optimistic hope is that we turn it around and at least finish the season strong.
Right.
Even if we miss the playoffs, even if we don't make it to the playoffs, I just hope we finish strong and we can continue to build off of what we did in the first half of the season.
I think you're right, Joel. That's the way that we have to look at it, dog. Being realistic, right? Because if we're looking at this through the different phases of the Marlins season, right? Phase 1 was like, well, we're not expecting shit from this Marlins squad. Let's just hope that Jazz stays healthy this year, right? And then it was phase 2. The season started and it was like, well, damn, they started winning games. Cool. They've actually won a couple of games. All right. Damn, they found this pitcher. Oh shit, Yuri Perez is the real deal. This guy's fucking going out here and killing it. And the rest of the guys in the staff and bullpen are kind of following his lead. All right. And then, oh wow, look at that. Luis Aray is hitting 400. We got an all-star. Jorge Soler is hitting 20-something home runs. Sweet. All of this stuff was unexpected in the first half of the season. All of it. And even still, it was a pleasant surprise, but we knew, deep down that it's so hard to sustain that for an entire 162 game season, right? Now, I think that the Marlins have figured out who they are at their core and how they can win games. They're just struggling to win those type of games because something that Schumacher said the other day was like, this was after that one of those losses to the Phillies. He came out and said after the game, like, yo, this is something that we can fix internally, but we need to be in the right mindset. And I'm not sure if we're in the right mindset, and that's on me. And when he said that, it kind of took me back to be like, damn, usually you kind of find ways as a manager to figure out a different way to motivate your team. But by you absolving the team of the bad way that they've been playing and putting that blame on yourself, that's probably a better way of doing it because you know that you don't have a veteran on this team, a superstar on this team that the media can go to and get a good soundbite where they can feel positive news or positive vibes about the team. I don't think we're there with the Marlins. We don't have that player just yet. And it's up to Schumacher to come out and make these type of comments and keep the team believing in themselves and saying, guys, even if this shit is going the way it is right now, it's not the worst that it's gonna be. We're gonna get better and we're gonna have different lows, but we got to get out of this slump, and it all starts with me. I love that as a manager.
I love that too, because you know he takes the onus on himself. You know, he unites the locker room and say, you know, even in the sense of like, if you do believe, if you're in that locker room and you think, yeah, no, coach is messing up, he has the wrong rotations, whatever. Like, It's nice to hear him at least take accountability and say, you know, all right, it's on me. I got to figure that out and not blame something else, some other outside force. Or if you're in that locker room and you're like, damn, dog, like we just got to figure something out. And now coach is going out there and he's trying to take the blame. And it's like, nah, man, like
this is on us.
That's on us. You know what I mean? I think either way, that approach will lead to a positive outcome, like you said.
For sure. And I think that we're starting to feel like that, man, because like, you know, even the other day, man, when we got that just yesterday on Sunday, we got a ass kicking by the hands of the Texas Rangers. You know, Sandy gave up 3 home runs in that game by himself. We end up losing 6-0. And it was just getting to the point where we knew that we needed more. We needed more and we couldn't find it. So I don't know if these guys are still having those doubts around themselves, but I do know that they have to feel a lot better that the manager is taking the brunt of the force and they can go out there and play freely. Mm-hmm. Now, that doesn't mean shit unless you go out there and perform and put out your best effort.
Right.
And this part of the season is where you individually as a Marlins player have to say, I'm going to put my best effort, because this can really change how the rest of the season goes. If we do well in this next stretch, we're going to be in that playoff contention, in that wild card contention. Yeah. If we don't, we know where we're heading. We're heading to the bottom of the division. We're going to be sub 500, and all of our goals for the beginning of the season are gone to shit.
Yeah, we got the next few series are pretty tough stretch. We got some here. I don't know if you want to.
Hell yeah, man. Look, we're starting a new series today. By the time you guys are listening to this, game 1 of the Cincinnati Reds series, excuse me, would have started. And that's
the hottest player in baseball.
One of the hottest players in baseball. And even though they're struggling, this is a team that you still have to play your best against, because they can go out there and beat you. And we're struggling. So we got Cincinnati, and then we have the Yankees coming into town at the end of the weekend.
Yankees are struggling too. They always had our number, though. They would love to come in and just whoop our ass.
Right? And then you look at the teams after that: Houston, the Astros, Dodgers, Padres,
the Nationals. Nationals are struggling. They're not those are probably the worst one in that whole bunch. But then the final one,
Tampa Bay, our hated rival, Tampa Bay.
Tough.
So this is going to be a very important month for this Marlins team. Are you pretenders or are you contenders? Because you can't make all these moves. You can't bring Robinson in and bring in Bell and get Berger, you know, trade away the pieces that we did. Rolando Hernandez, the catcher, highly touted prospect that we traded for Robinson. Like, if we're not going to win games and close games out, then why the fuck do we have Robinson? No disrespect to him, because he's great at what he does, but we could have been just as fine with AJ Puck and company, right? Even if he wouldn't have been our solidified closer. Maybe you keep that asset in Rolando, right? And bring him up in the next year or two and keep this team young and fun. But you make that move for a guy like Robinson, that's a win now thing, right? Uh-oh. All right. Well, that goes out.
I can reset it if you want to take a quick pause.
We can take a quick pause.
Yeah. And we're back.
Little miscue there with the video camera. But, you know, my train of thought was, why make the moves if you're not going to compete? Why make the moves if you don't think that you're a team that can really go after this playoff run? This next month of August is going to show us that, because these series that we just called out a little while ago are tough. But in order to be one of those teams that are taken serious, you got to win games. You got to go out there and beat teams that are competing for the same shit that you're competing for. Yeah. But I'll tell you this, Joel, and you know, we can kind of end the Marlins segment on this. This month is going to tell a lot about this Marlins team in the future, right? Who comes, who goes, what type of positions we need to fill. It kind of, and the one thing that I wrote down that I think we're going to have to discuss when we get closer to September is, depending on where the Marlins land in this postseason trip, do we start taking offers for Sandy? Do we start looking at other players and saying, this guy's making X, this guy's making X, what can we get for them? Because if we know that this is not a team that you can build on to reach the next level, you're going to have to do a lot of tweaking, then maybe we do all the type of tweaking right? And we do another year where we're not necessarily in the thick of things, but we have a lot of young talent that can go out there and make it exciting. I don't know.
I think we got to see the rest of the season.
You gotta wait. I mean, obviously you have to wait for the season to play out, but this month, if Sandy doesn't bounce back, you gotta wonder what type of level of Sandy are we gonna see in the future. If Jazz doesn't come back, what type of future are we looking at with a 50-50 Jazz, right? Like, there's a lot of big questions. Like, you know, even in the pitching staff, Braxton Garrett, are you gonna be a guy who we can rely on in the future? Luzardo, how long can we keep him here? Is he worth anything in the market? Like, those are hard questions that the Marlins are going to have to ask themselves. And they'll only have a clearer picture of that once we get through this month of August, man. So let's see how things shake out. Like I said, man, series starting tonight against Cincinnati, and then we got the weekend series against the Yankees. So all you out of towners can finally go check out Marlins Park this weekend, because obviously you guys don't go for Marlins games. So whatever.
Yankees are in town.
Yeah, the Yankees are in town. Let's go Marlins. Fuck that.
Let's go fish.
Let's go fish. Bro, we got it's fucking crazy, Joel, that we've talked so much soccer here on this podcast in the last 4 weeks than we have in like the almost 2 years that we've been doing this show, dog.
Well, you're a notorious Chelsea fan.
I'm the soccer guy
right?
here. Yeah.
And we haven't really been talking about Chelsea, you know. And
I've been keeping it a low profile on the month.
Yeah, we've kind of taken
personal reasons.
Sure, we've kind of taken a step back on the whole Chelsea talk and the Premier League and all that stuff. But lo and behold, the GOAT decided to come to Miami with his presence, and boy, has it been a movie.
That boy don't miss. He just don't miss.
I mean, he's
4-0, baby.
We're 4-0 with Messi, bro. And it's crazy. I mean, every game just keeps getting better and better. This last game was the best one so far.
The dramatic comeback win in penalties. Crazy, dog. And, you know, you talk about Messi and what he can do with the soccer ball and how much of an impact he can have on a game. This guy does everything.
You see it. You're seeing it.
And I'm so glad that the non-average soccer fan is watching this, right? Because now they get to watch it and have some type of expectation, like, oh, Messi's going to score. Oh, he's going to do this. He's going to make a pass. And that gets them into the game to be like, well, why isn't this guy making that pass? Or how come buddy over there can't make that goal? You know what I mean? Like, oh, not only is it because he's Messi, it's because he's Messi, right? But soccer is tough. And a lot of these people who watch the game now are starting to get the appreciation for just what this dude does and the level that he does it. Man, 4-0 since he joined into Miami. Obviously, he's already, I think, 4th on the all-time goal scorer list for Miami, which is fucking crazy.
That's so wild.
Tied for 4th, dog. But all he's done, but it's not that crazy when you think about what he was gonna do here, like, and what the expectations were. People are expecting for him to come in and score a bunch of goals and score a bunch of free kicks and score penalties, and he's done all of that.
We didn't expect, Messi coming in here and having a slump or struggling or trying to adapt to this league. I think this league is trying to adapt to Messi.
Yeah, obviously, and I think, in my opinion, the bigger storyline was his teammates. Are they going to be able to play at a higher level in order to help Messi continue to play at his high level?
I think this game was a prime example of that.
Perfect example of it. You're totally right. You know, we saw contributions from Yedlin played great. Martinez played great. From Robert Taylor has been amazing since Messi has came on. And of course, you know, you get the familiarity with Jordi Alba and Busquets, and having him in the middle and having a guy like Jordi Alba on the left back. Like, you can see the movement around the pitch. You can see the connection of the passes and the idea of the play starting to become more, I don't want to say fluid. I just want to say it looks more fan friendly, right? Because you're seeing the simple pass to the simple pass to the simple pass. But sometimes those simple passes are the hardest passes to complete. And you only get that because you have certain movement and certain attention being drawn away. That's the benefit of having a guy like Messi. He's able to draw guys away where those passing lanes open up, which allow guys like Martinez, Robert Taylor, Busquets, all these dudes to make just easier passes to a guy like Messi or whoever's playing up front.
Is Martinez the kid that got the game winner?
Yes, sir.
He had a goal early on too.
Early in the game, he scored the second goal, right?
I think the one that tied it for us, or maybe closed it to one goal deficit because then Messi tied it.
And then Messi tied it with the free kick right before.
Yeah, and then he ended up winning it
with the penalties.
Martinez did.
Yeah, and
that's a local kid too, right?
Yeah, and again, a guy who obviously has Messi as one of his idols, but recognizes what this can do for his career. And wants to put his best foot forward, wants to make sure that, Messi's getting the shine, but I'm going to put in the work, right? Because that work is going to get noticed when we're watching the tape or when they look back on the highlights, be like, who the hell is number 14? You know what I mean? So the level of excellence that continues to rise with Messi's arrival here in Inter Miami CF has been crazy, man. And I'm here for it, bro, because even last night, it's like, well, there's nothing to watch. And like, oh, shit. Inter Miami's playing. Yeah, I'm going to watch this. For sure, I'm going to watch this. And then 6 minutes into the game, you got to go. It's like, come on, what more do you want? Like, MLS isn't necessarily an exciting brand of soccer, but now that you have this element of Messi, and it's like, something's going to happen, so you're willing to watch. And even still, you watched last night, you saw 10 plus goals go in, right? You saw the 4-4, right? 4 on each side, and then you saw all the goals of the penalty kicks. So, like, that's more than enough when it comes to goals when it comes to the average fan.
Right, right. Yeah, in your average soccer game, you're not going to yield that many goals.
Hell no, man. Hell no. But it's crazy. It's just crazy to see it every time. Every time that Messi steps out there, or just on a daily basis, like, you can just see the impact that this dude has had on our city here, man, and on this team, which is fucking great. Now, I want to see Messi do the impossible, right? Right now, in the MLS, Inter Miami's in last place in the Eastern Conference, right? But they're only 12 points away from the 9th position, which would get them into the playoff.
He said they're only 12 points away.
Which is not a lot, because it's not, because if you think about it, a game, if you win a game, that's 3 points, right? Okay, so you win 4 games. You made up to 12 points, but you got to make sure that you don't lose games.
How many games do we have left?
I think we have.
Because I'll tell you this much, something I know about the next game.
Keep talking. I'm going to find it.
Yeah, well, the next game, we don't have Messi because we're playing against a team that refused to change their field for him because he only plays in real grass, not artificial.
Yes.
So we don't have the best player on our team. And if we only have 9 games, that's one less game.
True. But we have, I think.
We got to win it without Messi.
Wait. We have more than 9 games left, for sure.
Okay,
right? There's been 22 games. Inter Miami has only played 22 games in the MLS. Teams have had 24 games. So they have an extra 2 games in their back pocket, right? In order to make up the games. But looking at their schedule, right? They have what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They have at least 9 to 10 more games in the MLS. Doable.
It's possible.
It's doable.
It's definitely possible.
Because very doable, because we have Messi, just on that strength alone, right? Yeah. Like, but are we going to be able to play those games on the road, right, and have him be a part of it? You mentioned the turf shit. Not every team is set up to have turf. Can we win those games? That maybe eliminates it from 13 games, or what is it, 3, 6, 9, 12 games to 8 games, 9 games. Who knows? But that leads me to believe that the team can kind of go out there and play a game without Messi and be like, no, we're just as good without him. We can win games without him. He can help us. Not necessarily without the other guys, right? We need the Busquets. We need Jordi Alba to play every single game for sure. And if Messi has to miss one game, can we do our best to maybe win the game? Definitely tie the game, and obviously not lose the game. That should be the goal for the rest of the season in the MLS. Now, in that Leagues Cup that we won against Dallas last night, or on Sunday evening, we're advancing into the next round. So now we're into the round of 16. We win that game. We're into the round of 8, and it's like, all right, we got a good chance in that, because those games are tournament style, and we know that Messi's showing up for them.
Sure.
But the MLS, man, it would be a hell of a story, dude, to come back from last place, 12 points down behind.
Yeah, but it's also like,
it could be done.
The AAU team that was in last place happened to come from behind and win it all. All thanks to LeBron James, who
Bronny James suiting up.
No, LeBron James himself, like suiting up for that AAU team. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how I feel about this.
That's the level.
It's still wild to me that Messi is here in Miami playing for the MLS. Like
crazy.
It's crazier. Like to me to fathom that still, even though he's already here for a couple weeks, than it was for me to understand that LeBron James was part of the Heat. Like that was such a shock to me, but like. It sat better because it was like, it was made more sense. Like it's NBA, like you're just going from one NBA team to no, this guy left the greatest football franchise in the world, arguably.
Right.
Left $1 billion deal on the table.
Right.
And landed here in Miami.
The 305, baby.
In a place that doesn't care about soccer. And it shows because the team is in last place. Yeah. Like I can't wrap my head around that yet.
Yeah, but I think that was obviously we know now that was the plan all along, right? To go after Messi and get him here.
I know, but the fact that it happened already.
I think that not that it happened earlier than expected, right? Because people thought that Messi was going to get here in his late 30s, like early 40s. He's 39. It's like, shit, come here and retire. No, this dude's 36, like pretty much in his prime still. He's Messi, dog.
A little past his prime, but
he's Messi. We're not talking about, a Neymar.
That guy
but
miles.
But what I'm saying is that he's been the best of the best since he was 16, 15. That's a 20-year span.
Yeah.
So he's still
a lot of miles.
He's still in there as far as I'm in my peak because I'm a GOAT. You know what I mean? I'm not a regular player that's on the way down. I'm in my GOAT status, and the only way I go down is when I say I go down, right? So, I think the Inter Miami CF really hit the fucking Grand Slam, getting him here earlier than expected. Yeah. And even for himself, he's probably like, wow, I didn't expect this. But here we are. Messi's in Miami.
He expected it, dog, for sure.
Hey, you never know, man. Money talks. Dog.
Playing with kids.
Obviously, he walked away with more than $1 billion, right? If he had to come down here, if he walked away from the Saudi League. So just shows you that money does make the world go around down here in Miami, dog.
Always, baby. Our whole skyline is built on
absolutely, money. Man. Man, before we wrap up, we got a couple of honorable mentions, bro.
Yep.
We saw a ridiculous show of boxing this weekend between Jake Paul and Nate Diaz.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the baseball fight.
Nah, I want to say that one for last because that was probably the realest fight that happened.
Should have been on the zone, dog. That was the best fight of the weekend.
Absolutely. And you know what? If they would have charged for that fight, I would have not been mad. But I'm mad as hell that people were charging for fucking Paul versus Diaz. It looked like
you bought it. Or did you watch it?
Hell no, I didn't. I watched it, but I didn't buy it.
I didn't even bother, dog. Honestly, because like I already kind of knew what was. Honestly, I kind of knew what was going to happen. Like Jake Paul versus who did he fight before?
The wrestler.
The wrestler? What wrestler?
Oh no, Fury. Fury's brother.
No, it wasn't Fury. Tommy Fury. It was somebody else that he had fought. But anyways, there was more around that I was more excited about versus this one. Like, yeah, it was Nate Diaz, and Nate Diaz is a dog, and he's a goon and all that stuff. And I'm like, bro, he's going in there for a bag, bro. Like, all these guys are. They're just going in there for a bag. Like, I didn't think he was going to sleep Nate, but at the same time, I was like, I could see this literally just being a cash grab and it going the distance and exactly what ended up happening.
For sure. And dog, I say I watched it, but I only really watched 3 rounds of it because by the 4th round, I was like, Nate's
so
drunk.
Boring.
I was like, forget about fucking boring. Nate was for sure drunk or on drugs, and it felt like Jake was there just practicing. Like, I'm gonna spar with this guy. I'm gonna spar with this guy because Nate wasn't there for boxing, dog. He was there to have a good time. He was there to enjoy himself, talk shit, fuck around, make the crowd laugh.
Like looking over the ropes, talking to the crowd.
And that was it. You know, once I saw that by the 3rd round, I was like, I'm going to sleep. Yeah, fuck this fight.
That shit was whack. The fight before was a brawl. The girls.
Yeah, the girls, Serrano and the Hardy girl, those bitches went at it, dog.
Well, one of them got their ass whooped. I can't.
But they went at it.
But
they went at it, and yeah, man, those are the fights I'd rather see.
Yeah,
right. I don't want to see Jake Paul versus Nate Diaz, especially when I know that the elder guy is there for a money grab. Jake was there to fight.
Yeah,
right. Obviously, he's looking to prove himself as a boxer.
We need him fighting real boxers.
We need him fighting real boxers, dog. Even if I don't know what they're gonna do, but we need him fighting real boxers, man. Another thing that happened this past weekend, the U.S. women's national team, sayonara, See you later.
Yeah.
Konnichiwa.
They got rocked.
They got
knocked
rocked.
out.
Good day,
not
mate.
necessarily rocked, but they
got rocked.
They lost it in PKs, right?
Because not only did they lose it in PKs, but they had lost their 3 prior games before this one. So you know, for all the hype that the women's national team had, it was more based on their previous accomplishments than what they had accomplished now with this team. And it was understandable that they didn't reach it, in my opinion, right? Because you're missing a lot of players, Carly Lloyd being one of them. Rapinoe's older. Alex Morgan is older. And now you're bringing up the newer generation, a bunch of girls who are 18, 19 years old, 20 years old, and getting their first taste of the World Cup and real competition. So I didn't expect the women's team to go out there and dominate. And they didn't dominate, and that's why they lost. You know what I mean? They couldn't put goal away against Sweden, and then they lost by like fucking millimeters because the goalie happened to let that ball go over the line completely. Those are the breaks.
Yeah.
And when you're dominant like this, like the U.S. women's were for such a long time, it's only natural that you're gonna have those lows, right? Where you're not gonna be at the best of the best every single time. So shout out to them for making the World Cup. Hopefully they come back and learn some lessons and you know, figure something out for the next run. And go from there and try to, you know, get back started to winning World Cups. The cool shit about the women's tournament now is that you got Brazil out, you got USA out, Spain survived. You got a bunch of teams that hadn't necessarily won a World Cup in quite some time. Now they're battling for it. It's going to be a great finish, in my opinion. So don't hate on the women's. Tune in, watch it. I know the games are early as hell, but if it's on at 7 a.m. and you ain't doing shit, why not watch it? You might be entertained.
Hell yeah.
The last thing we got to finish the show with is that fight. We got in this corner from the White Sox shortstop, Tim Anderson. And in this corner from the
Cleveland Indians.
Cleveland Guardians, third baseman, Jose Ramirez.
All right, walk us through what happened here.
All right, so
What
apparently...
led up to this?
Apparently, these guys had beef with each other, right? Because Anderson has been known for being like a dirty type of player at the second base position. Even though he's a shortstop, a lot of times when you're applying the tag or breaking up a double play or whatever, is usually a shortstop guy, right? And he had actually some interactions with Jose Ramirez where Jose has sliding and this dude was saying that he was tagging him too hard or like trying to knock him off his feet or some shit, and didn't really like the extra physical activities. And then this day it just popped off, man. Jose Ramirez slid into second. Tim Anderson tried to apply the tag. And as both of them were coming up from the momentum, like Tim Anderson was talking something crazy to Jose Ramirez because Jose Ramirez pointed a finger at him like, bro, if you say that shit again, I'm going to just fucking clock you. And right there, Tim Anderson put his set up. Jose put his set up. And it was on, dog. Those guys started swinging wildly because they're baseball players. They're not fighters. But then something magical happened. Jose connected on a fucking beautiful right hook right on the jaw. Knocked Tim Anderson cold out.
Off the rip, it looked like Anderson had the better setup and the better awareness, right? He was, the way he said he threw it up, he looked like he can throw down. And then the way that Ramirez was kind of just throwing wild punches, it was like, he's just swinging for the fences. But every now and again, bro, a broken clock is right. You know what I mean? And boy, was that clock right. And
right on time, dog.
Right on time, bro.
Right on the button, too.
Yeah, dog. And I think my favorite part of it all, and I hope this is normalized in baseball moving forward and is openly accepted, is how the stripes, the guy, the official that was standing right there trying to break it up initially, how he took a step back once he saw both of these guys are squaring up.
Oh, you guys want to punch each other in the face?
These are grown-ass men. Dog.
Go at it.
Let them do it right here. And then one got knocked out. That's it.
Yeah.
That was the fight.
Yeah.
Nothing else needed to get ugly. No other teammates needed to jump on anybody. Like, that's it.
As soon as he got knocked out, you saw him like falling back and his teammate catch him and shit. And they start to break it up.
That's how hockey is, dog. Hockey regulates themselves. Let them handle it right there, bro. Yeah.
Right.
What are you going to get suspended now and a fine? Oh, well, bro. That punch right there, that highlight, that Sports Center top 10, that's worth it.
And look, that's completely on Tim Anderson now because you throw up the set first, dog, you better land the first punch. And he didn't land it, and he went to sleep for it. So, And then even worse, dog, not only because all the memes and shit that came out, you know that dude, that dude from Atlanta, well, he pulls up with a Hellcat. He's like, oh, this is mine, little skinny dude, whatever. He had done a meme where he's like, oh, how people feel after a fight. The ride is quiet as hell on the way home, and he's just checking himself in the mirror. People calling him like, no, I'm straight. That's for sure what happened to Tim Anderson, dog. And then, to make matters even worse, the news comes out today that MLB suspends him 6 games, and Jose Ramirez only got 3 games, dog. So you took the L on the field, you took the L on social media, and now you take the L literally at your job, dog, where you get suspended?
Insult to injury, dog.
Come on, man. This is not his week, dog.
You got to be better, but hey, got to love a good baseball fight.
Oh, yes. It's been a while, too, right? It's been a while since we got a good baseball fight, dog.
Yeah, I love a good baseball fight, bro.
Yeah, man. Shit's always fun, dog. Shit's always fun. It's kind of like this program, man. It's always fun.
Hey, this podcast is fun.
Yeah, it's
fun to do. I hope it's fun to watch and listen to.
Absolutely. And you're only going to be able to do that by going to our YouTube channel and hitting the subscription button. Yes, and you know what to do when you do that? You got to tell a friend.
Tell a friend.
To tell another friend.
To tell everybody they know.
To tell everybody they know, and to tell their cousin and their grandma and their great aunt second on their dad's side. That's the one.
All of them.
To go ahead and follow this show on YouTube, man. All you got to do is support the program, hit subscribe, and we're going to keep bringing you that fire. Until next time, y'all.
Peace.